Hello, everybody. Whether you're here live or you're watching the recording, I'm excited to kick off Dream Big. I read this book right when I got to San Antonio, so starting at the end of June, and I finished it, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I need to do this with my people. So I'm really excited to be reading back over it because I've even re-underlined things. I think when you read things again, it's so good. Different things soak in, and my book is majorly underlined, and we're only a few chapters in. So I'm excited to hear from all of you about what really spoke to you. So I guess, though, before we dive into the questions, which I think are, they're generic questions, but I think they're, oh, sorry, that's my dog. Hold on one sec.
Sorry, Candace, every single time we get on Zoom, I'm driving. I promise
that it's
I'm
okay.
not going.
I was like, are you a professional driver?
No, I just realized that. I was like, poor Candace is wow, is she ever at her home? Sorry if this is recorded. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so back to, I feel like the questions for chapter 3, although they are basic questions, can be really meaty as we kind of dive into our ambitions and who we are and our identity. And I feel like it's something, as a military spouse, I'll be vulnerable here for a second and just say, as we move and go to different places, sometimes you can feel like your identity gets pulled and you feel like you're starting all over and having to reestablish yourself and recreate yourself every place that you go. And I've wrestled with that a little bit here. And I was talking to my mom about that this morning. Some days I feel really confident, and then other days I don't. And she was like, you have to be careful that the enemy does not let those lies continue to come into your head, because it's easy for you to just be like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what's going on. And so this book, with the timing of where I am for me personally, has been really, really good. And so anyway, with that being said, I want to share a few from chapter 1, the things that really spoke to me. And then I'll give you guys a chance to kind of share, and we can go through it chapter by chapter, and then kind of talk about the questions at the end and what you answered and what you thought. So for chapter 1, on page 4, when Bob says, I learned the importance of having an ambition and staying after it, no matter how big or impossible it seemed. He said, I knew what I wanted, why I wanted it, and I decided what I was going to do about it. There is a silent flip of a switch that happens when we make this determination about something we want. It's the point where we move from just thinking about an ambition to actually doing something about it. And so I wrote next to this, has this happened to you yet, where you feel like there was this silent flip of a switch that when you make the decision that you're going to do something, you feel like everything changes?
Yeah, I'll go first, I guess, because I think I had one of the the biggest switch in my life. First, let me preface, I hope you can hear me okay. I'm on hotel Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Okay, good.
I can hear you perfect.
Okay. So Abby knows this, but just a few months ago, I was laid off due to COVID from a job that I was at for 9 years. And instead of just continuing to go down the path of the career that I've been in for 20 years, I decided to just flip the switch, and decided to go down a completely different avenue, where I have to go back to school for about 5 years. So it's definitely not only changed my career path, but it's also I've had to change my mentality, because I can't run in that rat race anymore, from where I came from. And it's really had to force me to just completely shift my life around me, my priorities, my mindset. And you kind of just feel like a fish out of water. So I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that that's just staying the course. And what Abby actually said the other day, what did you say? Consistency breeds results, I think is what you said. So that's it. I think like staying consistent and choosing your path and flipping the switch can be great.
Absolutely. Taylor or Sarah, do you have anything to add? And if you don't, that's okay. But I want to give you a chance to share if you want to.
I'm going to be home in 5 minutes, and yes, I'll have more to add on other things. So.
Yep, you're fine. Okay, so Taylor, were you going to say something? I didn't want to cut you off.
No, not for this one.
Okay. So pursuing, this was the next quote, just a little bit down from it. Pursuing your ambitions will take an equally big dollop of trust. God's got you. Take the risk. It's worth it. I think we've all had circumstances in our life where it was like, holy smokes, this feels scary. My palms are sweaty. My stomach hurts. This feels hard. I mean, we could say that about this business. There's moments where we're like, oh my goodness, like this takes bold, courageous faith to reach out to somebody and share this with them, because who knows what they're going to think, who knows how they're going to respond. And like all these games or all these voices start happening in our heads. And pursuing the path that we are called to pursue, I think makes sometimes our stomach hurt and our palms sweaty. You know, like there have been moments in my life where I felt like it's so scary. This is so nerve-wracking, but you know that you're supposed to be doing what God's called you to do, but it feels so scary. So I thought that was a really good quote. And then this was really good. On page 5, he's talking about Sweet Maria. And he says, the way she lives her life is a daily reminder to me that our purpose is not found in another person's validation. I will be transparent and say that is something I've learned about myself with moving. Like I seek, when I'm as a spouse getting pulled out of her environment and plopped somewhere else, I want people to like me. I want people to accept me. And like that has been blaring at me in the face since I moved here. I'm like, okay, I don't need to be seeking the approval of others so much, but the desire to be accepted and welcomed in has been like, woo, I've been like, I gotta fix that. That's not very good. And so I mean, I admire the people that are just like, I don't really care what people think. Who cares? I think everybody has a little bit of some caring of what people think. But I think especially for women, I think it's easier probably for men to say that than it is for women. So let me just say that's a quality I admire men. I'm like, I wish I just lived, whatever, you know, if he likes me, he likes me. If he doesn't, he doesn't, you know, like, so anyway, I don't know if any of you can relate to that in any way, but that really, really stuck out to me. And then the last thing I'll share here, and then if you guys had anything highlighted on these pages, let's see, being different isn't always easy. Perhaps you felt like you were different than your friends or family. That's a good thing. And we're going to need to settle into who God has created us to be if we're going to move ahead. Forging the path that you've been called to forge often looks different. It often looks different from the girl next to you. You know, I've looked at my life and I've been like, oh my goodness, I am so different from the person next to me, like that I graduated college with, I graduated high school with, my girlfriends in college, you know, it looks so different. And so, but different isn't bad. I think we think different can be construed as negative. So those were my big things from chapter 1. I don't know if anybody has any big phrases that I didn't say that they wanted to share.
I think when you back up to what you had highlighted about Sweet Maria, that the next sentence after that, I actually had your sentence highlighted, but then also it's not found in familiarity or approval or popularity either. So that's actually what stood out to me, because I think just like we were talking about flipping the switch, or as yourself moving on base, I'm 4 miles from Abby, and I actually just moved on base as well. So it's a huge shift. And I think it's about really just continuing down the path that you're on and not changing who you are so that you can fit in. And honestly, I think where you say, you know, people say, I don't care what people think about me. I think a lot of people say that as a way to boost their confidence to not care about what people say. And I truly do. I think that there is a large part of them that they don't care. But I think a lot of times they do have that little, you know, tiny bit of care, and they're really just saying those words as affirmations. So that's what I had added from what you had.
I love that. Familiarity or approval or popularity either.
You don't need approval. Be who you are.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on chapter 1? Okay, so moving on to chapter 2. I actually highlighted quite a bit in this chapter. So I thought this was kind of a funny question that we could all talk about. What was your earliest ambition? How long was it before you got your shot at it? And when did you get and when you got your shot, what did you do with it? So for me, my earliest ambition, I remember just wanting to be a dolphin trainer, but I obviously never got a shot at it. So that's my earliest ambition. Obviously it never came to be. So that's the earliest thing that I can remember like wanting to pursue. So I'm opening Pandora's box there with my earliest ambition. So can you guys remember your earliest ambition?
You know the movie Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken?
The movie?
Okay, you don't know it. Yes. It's about a girl that basically jumps from, it's really stupid. She like gets on a horse and she like skydives down, or she jumps down from this. So I would wear this skirt and run around, and I was like, y'all, I'm going to be like a sky horse diver like Snore Webster. And that never really happened, but
I love it.
Kind of like the fairy. I was like, oh, that's actually really cute. But yeah.
That's so funny.
That never happened, clearly. My little sister wanted to be a laser Indian. So, I mean.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you know what that means.
I love the creativity.
No kidding.
Amazing.
I want to say I had like a fun ambition when I was younger, but I want like truly my first ambition was getting into Florida State, and it happened.
It happened.
Great.
I have a scar somewhere on my body from falling down the stairs the night I got my acceptance email. And then my parents were not as excited as I was that night. So it was like they took the wind out of my sail. My mom didn't want me to go to school 4 hours away.
Aw.
That's cool though. That's sweet that you remember. That's a good ambition, and it came to pass.
I think my earliest was totally not ever going to happen. Talking about what you want to be when you grow up. Mine in elementary school was the Statue of Liberty. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that never came true, except for in a costume form one year, but that was about it. So yeah, I would say that's probably one of my first.
I love it. That's awesome. That's good. Okay, so moving on to page 8. The paragraph on failure. Failure happens. This is the sentence, or the 2 sentences that I overlined. Resist the tendency to be discouraged or thrown off scent when it happens to you. It's what you do next that says a lot about who you are. And I thought that was really, really good, because people are often watching what you do after something catastrophic happens, whether it's catastrophic to a lot of people or it's just catastrophic to you. I think people are often paying attention when something rough happens, and they want to see how you respond and how you handle it. And I do believe it says a lot about who you are. I couldn't agree with that more. And then on page 9, some of us start telling lies about ourselves or others. We do this for a number of reasons, but primarily because we're uncertain about who we are and how we fit into the larger arc of our lives. We're insecure and looking for acceptance, so we dumb things so we do dumb things in our desperation. And I wouldn't say that I'm somebody that we can speak lies over ourselves. That was more what I wanted to gather from here. Not that we're lying about other people, but I think we can often start to tell ourselves lies because we're insecure or we're worried about what other people think. And we start all these stories in our heads and we replay the tape. I am known to replay the tape. That's something else I've learned about myself as my life has gotten a little quieter. I'm like, oh, that tape, let me shut that tape off. Like that has no say in what I'm doing right now. And so that I feel like, again, it goes back to the acceptance, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be secure in who we are and find our place. And then not far down from that, it says, we're all going to make mistakes. Some are premeditated and weirdly intended to be self-destructive. Others just simply arise because we don't understand what is happening around us. This is what I underlined. Those are the mistakes that remind us of our humanity, and help us be truthful with ourselves about the fact that we don't have it all figured out. And so I think when things get hard, and that is when, for me personally, when I realize that I'm like, oh, I don't have this all together. Like one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. God's got this, and I just need to follow each day after him because I don't have it all together. There's moments where I'm like, have it, and then my confidence goes down and I'm like, okay, there's the humility.
There's that reminder.
There's that good reminder. Thank you, humility. Keep me humble. Keep me humble. Okay, so let me share these last few quotes and then I'll let you guys share your thoughts on chapter 2. This is page 10. I used to think that we had to have our act together for God to use us and for our ambitions to be attainable, but I don't think that anymore. He'll use, and then he has this sentence. Here's the incredible thing. I couldn't even take my own temperature, but God still finds a way to use me. He'll use you too, if you're willing. And then, will we make big things out of small things? You bet. Yet God is infinitely patient with us. I'm still messing up the simple things in my life, like taking my temperature, but God calls me his own nonetheless. He does the same with you. We need to get this straight as we explore our ambitions or let our past failures block our bright futures. So those are my thoughts on chapter 2. I don't know if anybody else has big takeaways, but feel free to share.
There was one that I underlined that said, something happens when we mess up, we get to start fresh. And my favorite Bible verse, and I feel like I have to pray, it's so dumb. I feel like we have to say this of ourselves every single day, but like his mercies are new every morning. So even when we make mistakes, there is like another opportunity. There's another, kind of like when everyone says, oh my gosh, it's Monday, it's like a fresh start. Or like in this business, it's a new month. And it's easy in the moment to be like, oh my gosh, it's like the worst, it's the end, but like there is another morning, there is another day. So it was like a short, simple phrase, but I was like, oh, that's actually like so true. Like we do need to focus on like starting fresh and not just focusing on like what we didn't get done, because I always have huge to-do lists. And when I don't get it done, I like punish myself. I'm like, oh, way to go. Like you might as well just not even start again tomorrow because you're never going to get that far down. So I have to kind of remind myself like, okay, like you just need to reward yourself for the stuff you did get done, and tomorrow is a new day. So as much as everyone hates Mondays, I'm like, okay, well, Monday is a great way to just start the week like in a fresh way. So
you're way more optimistic about Mondays than I am.
I don't always love them. I had, this morning was hard, but I feel like it is great though in some respects. I'm like, okay, I try to treat a Monday like the first day every month. And I'm like, okay, it is a new week. It's like a fresh perspective, but it's me having to pet myself up too. Like there are times where I'm like that verse, count it all joy. I have to always say his mercies are new every morning. I'm like, okay, his mercies are new every morning, even in moments like this photo shoot tonight. So I'm like, his mercies are new every morning.
Tomorrow's another day.
Tomorrow's another day. Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taylor. I know you were going to say something.
I wrote that like God will always find a way to use you, and then I underlined, and he's infinitely patient with us, and it kind of spoke to me because it was something that our pastor covered recently at church. He did a like series on like God and his immutable characteristics, and basically the point was that like God is all knowing. He like knows everything from the very beginning of time until way past, like, we are here. And, like, he has, like, his purpose for you is already set in stone, and, like, his path is there. And it's just, like, a good reminder that, like, he has a plan for you. He's going to use you. And even though you might not know what it is right this second, like, it's there.
Yeah. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna move in. I know we only have a couple minutes left. I am gonna share the big, this really good quote from chapter 3, and then I'll let everybody answer the who we are, where are you, and what do you want. So on page 17, probably 3/4 of the way down the page, he says, maybe this side of heaven, life was made for searching. Instead of a final destination or striving for complete certainty, maybe our ambitions are like the smell of a pie in the oven, a reminder and invitation to follow the scent, to enter and keep trying, keep looking, and keep discovering. And I think that goes back to feeling like we have to have it all figured out. Like we have to know what our next step is. Like we have to, you know, my type A personality is like, okay, well, what's the next step? Like, let's do it. Let's get after it. And like, maybe this side of heaven was made for searching, taking, you know, one step in front of the other. So with that said, I wrote down the answers to these questions on 2:16. Where are you, or who are you, where are you, and what do you want? So I'll read off to you what I wrote, and then you guys can share. So I'm Abby, a lover of people, a connector, passionate about empowering and inspiring others. And at first I was like, okay, where are you? I thought of that like, okay, geographically, but then I kind of was just thinking, where are you in your journey? Maybe, I don't know. Like, I guess that question.
I thought geographically too. So I'm so sorry if I was thinking girl. I literally did write down where I was.
I wrote a geographical answer, but I just thought like, where are you? I don't know, like that. Where are you in your journey could be much meatier. Like that may take a little bit more.
That's what I took it as.
Mm-hmm. Did you take it as, you took it, Candace, as where you are in your journey?
Yep.
And is that what you took it as, Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, I'll let you two share that, and then I'm going to gather my thoughts and I'll share.
I didn't have a long answer though.
No.
So don't get too excited.
No. Yeah, all mine were not super, super long answers.
No, mine aren't super long either. I'm just thinking like, where are you? I guess I don't know. I got to think about that for a second. So what do you want? I want to grow the kingdom and ultimately point people back to Jesus. I think ultimately that's where my purpose lies, in the greater, you know, in my business and all of those things. Absolutely. Yes. But ultimately I want people to see Jesus in me, and know that they're loved. And so those were my answers. Sarah, go ahead.
Thanks, friend. Yeah. Okay. So I think I was thinking a little literal on some of these, but for mine, I put, I'm a child for who are you? I put, I'm a child of God, a dreamer, one who is constantly seeking adventures and new friendships, a 7 on the Enneagram, and a photographer. So just like little mixes. I almost thought about it as like an Instagram thing underneath your name, like, who are you? And I was like, oh, I just want to add like fun things. Okay. So for like, where are you? I kind of mixed it with where I am in the journey and where I'm living. So I obviously put, I'm, you know, like living in Texas. I've been here for the past couple years. I'm in my late 20s, but I feel like I'm in my younger 20s, and I want to keep writing in that, but it was like kind of a mix of like both. Okay. And then for the last question, I put, I want people to remember how I made them feel, to leave a legacy and story as beautiful and God-centering as my mom's.
I love that.
Those were my 3.
Taylor, you're up.
Okay, so for the first one, same thing, like Instagram bio. I put, I'm a wife, a college grad, a hard worker, a child of God, a sister, a daughter, and a friend. Then where are you? I put in the in-between, at my day job for 7 years, but I know like it's not what I want to do forever. And then for what do I want? I kept it short and simple. I said fulfillment, purpose, and happiness.
Mm.
Okay. I'll round it out.
Okay.
So for who are you? This was kind of hard for me just because obviously I know I'm a wife and mother, but knowing so many changes, that my identities kind of just honestly changed. Prior, I would have been a lover of growing teams and growing people, coming from my prior career field. I still want to do that. So I think who I am now is a searcher, is kind of what I would coin as the term. And I said sometimes for approval or the next big opportunity to stay the path and motivated through hard times. My husband's about to leave for a year, so I'll be single mom for a year. And so I think to me, who I am is changing every single day. So it's kind of hard to answer that question. That's who I am in the moment. And where are you? I actually had 2 words. I said starting over, because that's kind of what I'm doing. Going back to school, and I'm homeschooling, starting 2 weeks ago. So all of those things, that's where I am. So continuing to try to stay humble, but motivated, because it's very hard. Similar to Abby, I'm new to the base, even though I've lived in San Antonio for 11 years. I'm also struggling to find people who are like me. So trying to stay true to who I am and not change for other people. And what do you want? Success in attaining all of my goals that I have for myself, because I have a lot of doubters in my life right now, for the decisions that I've made to go forward, even in my family. So I want to prove them wrong, and I intend to. So I think I'm honestly, I just want to say super excited to find this community, because I think that this is what was needed for a long time. So
I love that.
What I got.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, so I'll kind of say where I am in my journey. I feel like I'm discovering more of who I am. I think in each season, and I feel this with each move, God's going to pull back another layer of the onion and reveal more of who I am. And so anyway, I'm so thankful for our time. Thanks for showing up, ladies. I hope it blessed you. And we'll just plan for next week. I'll post the chapters. I need to see how I'm going to break it up. I don't know if we're going to do 3 chapters every time or what that'll look like, but I'll figure it out and post about it. So thanks for being here, ladies. Have a good night, and I'll see you on the call in just a second.
Thanks.
Bye,
guys.
Bye.